Okay, good afternoon, everyone. It's Hollywood Balls with me, Geordie Pete Redding. Now, forget winning the league and forget being in a Champions League final, by the way. The big news this week is that Dele Alli joined the Guardiola family. Can you believe it? Dele Alli has joined the Guardiola family, yes, with his daughter, Maria. Okay, all I can think of is Dele Alli's new hairstyle. Good luck to them. Okay, now today it's a fantastic, fantastic show lined up for you. Our special guest, he's got 4 Premier League titles to his name, an FA Cup, a League Cup, throw in a Champions League.
Hold on, get it right. 5. He's got 5, all right.
I've got 4. We'll give him 5. And a Champions League. The list is endless. It's a big, massive Hollywood Balls welcome to Mikael Silvestre. How are you, mate?
Very good, thank you. And you?
Yeah, we're very good. We're very good. We've got so much to get through. A massive show today, by the way. I've got the French background on, of course, for our special guest. And also try to join us from our own TFA family is George, who's having sound issues.
Can you hear us,
No, what we'll do is we'll carry on bravely. Big welcome to the TFA family who are in the house as well. Good afternoon to you guys. Your code will be in the next 15 minutes. Mikael, we are going to be coming to you very soon as our main guest. Can't wait to catch up with you, find out what you've been doing. You're in our lovely country of Dubai as well. We'll touch on that. But first, I want to give a big Hollywood Balls welcome to our episode partner today, Mooney and Lambert. Which is why we wanted George. Here's George with us now. Can you hear us, George?
Yes, I can.
Good man. Just in time as well, because we've got some Spurs news for you. It's a big welcome to episode partner Mooney and Lambert today. They've got a book out called My Eyes Have Seen the Glory, and it's regarding Spurs' being the first English club to win the league and cup double. George will remember that one. The book includes interviews with 40 legends. It's artist by Paul Trevelyan. Fantastic book. Next week we'll have publisher Troy on. Troy Lambert's going to be on the show with us, and looking forward to that. Okay, but first and foremost, as I said, it's a big Hollywood Balls welcome to Mikael Silvestre. What have you been up to, and where are you coming to live from?
I don't know where you want to go back to, because
well, you're in Dubai. You're with us. You're in Dubai. We're going to touch on your career down that memory lane. But what have you been up to recently? Are you just enjoying the sunshine, or you've been doing a lot of TV work, haven't you?
Not so much of TV, but a lot of Zoom calls for sure. This is
it's the way forward.
Yeah, exactly. No, I moved in Dubai in November.
Yeah,
no, it's a family decision, but then in terms of business, I'm still going to be involved in the agency,
yes,
representing players, doing the work of intermediary between clubs and players, and sometimes coaches.
Fantastic. Now, we are going to go back down that career that I just mentioned. I mean, it's fascinating. As a Newcastle fan, obviously, I've seen you play live many times. Manchester United and Newcastle were rivals back in the day, way back in the day now, of course. But, you talk about your move to Manchester United, which was well documented from Inter Milan. But I was reading that Gerard Houllier was initially interested, and there could have been a move to Liverpool. Did that not work out?
Well, Gerard was my coach for the France under 18 and then under 21. So we had an existing relationship, of course. So when he picked up the phone and called me when it was for Inter, we had a conversation. But look, a few days later, I think a week later or less than that, Sir Alex called me, and United was amazing, So for Liverpool to come, it was great. Approach, and I was impressed, but I had to go for United because they were at their peak and the team was amazing. So it was an easy choice in the end.
It was an easy choice. You know, we ran through some of those honours, and pardon me, I missed one off. It's very remiss of me. But out of them, is there one? And it's a question I asked. You know, I asked Kev when I first met him as well. Is there a particular trophy title that you won that you gave you your greatest pleasure, or you thought, yeah, that one was really worth it?
Yeah, it's got to be the Champions League, and not only because it's a big trophy, it's because I was involved in that competition for 10 years. You know, 1 year with the Inter, and then 9 seasons with United. So at last, winning it was a cherry on the cake.
Yeah.
Because every time you enter the competition, you want to win it. And finally, even if I was just a substitute in the final, I still enjoyed it as much as anyone else in the squad. It was an amazing feeling, especially after the penalty shootout and all the story behind it. But for me, it was so important to win it also because that season I got badly injured in September. I torn my ACL, so I was out for 6 months. And, you know, coming back and winning the double with the team was he had a big better saver for me. It was amazing.
I mean, it's absolutely fantastic, and to have all this week, Manchester United fans from all over the world have been contacting me when I sent Mikael the flyer and said, "Great, you're going to be our guest on Saturday." I sent it to all my Manchester United friends, and the response is massive. And funnily enough, you being in Dubai, I spent quite a bit of time in Dubai with a certain Lee Sharp, who literally, I think he probably walked every blade of golf course here in Dubai. He played every single day. Great lad, and he had some seriously good stories about Sir Alex Ferguson. So I've got to ask you, have you got a favourite story from your previous gaffer?
Maybe not one favorite or one that's gonna make you laugh, but obviously there's the first time I've experienced the hair dryer. Maybe it was Southampton at home. I just lost the ball and then we conceded a goal. So after the game, I think we drew at home.
Yeah.
But the good thing for me was that my Scottish and my English was very bad, so I didn't understand the word he was saying. in my face.
So what fascinates me is that in any normal place of work, you know, I mean, there's so much happens during a game, and that could have happened in any minute, but it's lodged away firmly, isn't it? So you're never going to get away with it. I think that from what Lee was telling me, if there'd been a bad performance for Manchester United, which was few and far between, there wasn't many bad performances, but if there was mistakes, he said it used to be, I don't want to be off the pitch and into the dressing room first after that game.
Exactly. I mean, you are in front of everyone, and he's not only pointing at you, he's shouting as loud as he can. His face is getting redder and redder.
I mean, if there's a manager you don't want to make a mistake in front of, it's Sir Alex Ferguson, right? I mean,
yeah.
Absolutely brilliant.
The thing is, Pete, the standards were so high at Manchester United.
Yeah, I mean,
you know, the standards were so high. So when you did make a mistake and it cost you, it's a magnifying glass. It's like somebody shining a light on you. You know, it's hard.
Yeah.
Fascinated, but I find as well, George is a huge Tottenham fan, so I've got to say, you know, popular at Arsenal as well, Mikael, and your first goal against Spurs. So was that job done? You could have retired your Arsenal shirt after that. You scored against Spurs, so that was done, wasn't it?
Yeah, almost. But the thing is, we drew 4-4. It was when David Bentley scored that goal, and it was a crazy game at the Emirates. So it felt more like a defeat for us. So yeah, I was glad with the goal. It was a nice goal in the corner, but still didn't feel good at the end.
Yeah, that was a great game. Arsenal should have won. They really should have done. But it was a very entertaining game, right? I think Aaron Lennon scored the equaliser in the last minute, right? Is that right?
Yeah, it was just before stoppage time, so it was a killer.
All right, George, stop it now.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Yeah, listen, George. George has got this Tottenham book that from our show sponsor today as Mooney and Lambert, and he's got this Tottenham book on the way, and he's reliving all his glory. So it's going to be very Tottenham centric today.
Very painful.
Lots of messages flying in, and it's great to have you all with us. Debbie Steedman is with us. I thought she'd be watching James Martin today. She alternates, Mikael. She has our show on, but she also watches James Martin. I think she'd probably be better off with James today. Okay, I'm going to come to you, gents. Mikael, we're going to come back to you with a lot more questions. The messages are flying in as well. I want to come to George, funnily enough, to kick it off about Spurs, because, as I say, we have this special book, in all seriousness, and it is a fantastic book. Just going to flash a picture for everyone to have a look at. Now, Spurs and memories of this, George, this will bring some back for you. Special days and special players, right?
Yeah. A long time ago, but yes. But glory is the word that most Spurs fans associate with. Yeah.
And some special players that are in this book, and illustrated by Paul Trevelyan, a name that is synonymous with newspapers. If you remember, You Are the Ref, Roy of the Rovers. He's been on Hollywood Balls, Paul. Massive Spurs fan. 80, I think he's 81 years old.
Yeah.
Try interviewing him. Try interviewing him for 20 minutes. It's difficult, let me tell you. But the book looks absolutely fantastic. You can order it. As I say, the publishers are going to be with us on the show next week. But if you want to have a little look and order the book, by all means, it's on mooneyandlambert.com. My eyes have seen the glory. Kev, up to you. What glory have you seen this week?
I'll tell you what glory I've been looking at this week is La Liga. La Liga has really taken off. The Barcelona game on Tuesday.
They've blown it, right?
They've blown it. Yeah, they've blown it. They're stacked. They were 2-0 up cruising, and they end up drawing the game 3 each. And it was like, wow, how could Barcelona do that? You know, it's crazy. But you move on. They take a point, and then they go second. Atletico Madrid responds on the Wednesday by winning the game 2-1 against Real Sociedad. So they then extend their lead to 4 points. And then on Thursday, it's Real Madrid away at Granada. If they draw, Atletico Madrid could win the league tomorrow. They end up winning the game pretty convincingly, 4-1. Yeah. And now it's really a 2-horse race, Atletico and Real.
You were saying, Kev, I mean, just even last week you were saying that it was shaping up, but it's more of a head than a heart scenario now, isn't it? I mean, with games running out, it's literally
2 games left.
It's theirs to lose, isn't it?
Yeah, 2 games left. If Atletico Madrid win their final 2 games, they're champions.
Done.
Yeah.
They're done and dusted. So
and they're both winnable games. But like Kevin, I was shocked when Barcelona didn't win. Yeah. And you got to say now, Atletico are favourites, right, Kevin?
Yeah, definitely, 100%. Atletico are favourites, for sure.
It's been a great season, La Liga this year. Great season.
And speaking of special days, one that, Mikael, you'll remember, it's FA Cup final day today. We all know, I had a message from Australia this morning from a lad that I used to go to school with, and he said, can you remember when we were 5 years old? And I said, just about, that we used to wake up as kids. All day. I mean, Newcastle were never in it, so we had to pick a team that was. And basically, we would be that player for the morning. Then Dad would call you in. You'd go in, watch the build-up. And for a fan's perspective, what a day it was, all day on the TV with grandstand and what have you. But Mikael, as a player as well, truly special, isn't it? I mean, the build-up for you guys.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the FA Cup, you get to know it as a foreigner straight away. But for me, it was weird because when I joined United, we actually skipped the FA Cup. we went and played the club World Cup in Brazil.
Yeah.
So I saw what it caused. It was chaos. United not in the FA Cup. It was a disaster. But when I played in it, I could see the passion of the fans, and for us, it was a very important competition to be and to try to win.
Kev, what's the history? What does make it so special for both players and fans alike?
Pete, I think that what you mentioned before, you grow up with it from a kid.
Yeah.
We've seen some absolutely brilliant FA Cup finals. So as you grow up as a kid and then you start playing football and then you get into the cup, you don't realize how hard it is to actually win, because you've got to remember the non-league clubs start so early to try and build up, and then you get the giant killings and all this. I mean, I've been at the hands of a bad giant killing against Wrexham.
Yeah, remember that.
Yeah, I want to forget it, Pete. I don't want to remember it. I want to forget it. But it's an amazing cup that the world knows. So when you do get to the final, well, probably the worst defeat was the semi-final against Spurs, George.
Yeah.
Where we were winning the league. Yeah. Spurs were a good cup side, but we fancied ourselves, and they beat the brakes off us 3-1. And luckily. That was a real bad day. Luckily, we got some revenge a couple of years later.
Yeah.
But to make it to the final, the day, the occasion is special. And we liked it that much, Pete. We had to go to a replay. So we done 2 that year against Sheffield Wednesday.
I mean, I think
indeed.
Pete, I think, Pete, it's the tradition of it really is what everybody loves, I think. I mean, that survives the generations. And it wasn't, I mean, nowadays winning the Premier League is more prestigious than winning the FA Cup. But, 20, 30 years ago, it was kind of close, which one, right? It was just as prestigious, right? And the giant killing that Kevin refers to, that was fantastic, right? It was Mickey Thomas who scored against Arsenal, right?
I have no idea. I don't know who it is. I have no idea. No, it was.
I'll save you.
He scored the equaliser. He scored the equaliser, didn't he?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It was a free kick. I've got to say a massive shout out to Les Mowbray from Beamish up in the northeast. Les is a massive Newcastle fan. Great guy. He says, "What about '98 Arsenal?" I was living in London at the time, and I think I told you, Kev, I hosted a party. And I came back from Wembley, and there was about 350 people in my apartment with a DJ. It was quite famous at the time. So we'd lost the FA Cup final, and then I had to get 350 people out of my London apartment. FA Cup finals, memories, absolutely brilliant. Can't beat it. But we've said before, George, Spurs, again, lots of clubs associate themselves with tradition of the FA Cup, but it really is a massive, massive thing for Spurs. They love the old FA Cup, don't they?
Yeah, Spurs have always loved. Spurs traditionally always play attractive football. Not so great defensively historically, but they loved the FA Cup, especially if the year ended in 1. Right?
That's the famous phrase, isn't it?
Yeah. It was always special at White Hart Lane in the cup, I must say.
Well, I'm looking forward to today's final. I'll tell you what isn't special is the fact that Match of the Day still use the credits. They still put Ronnie Radford's goal on from I don't know when it was, the 20s, and it's on there as the greatest shock. Jace is on, and he wants to know, Kev, did you play in the Shrewsbury game when they knocked us out of the cup? Another giant killing on your record, maybe?
No.
Okay.
He's trying to get a bit smart, that Jace, but no, I weren't involved in it.
But talking about Ronnie Radford goal, do you remember the state of the pitch? I remember when he took the shot, the ball was bobbling all over the place. It was almost knee high, right? It was an incredible shot.
But it sat up true for him, didn't it?
Yeah,
it just sat up nicely when he hit it.
Yeah.
And again, I mean, it's part of the. Yes, it happened against our club, but these things do happen, and it's a goal that goes down in folklore. We just can't believe that we have to see it. Any big shocks in your time in the FA Cup, Mikael, when that you think, oh, that was major for us? There can't be many.
No, I only remember playing at Northampton. I don't know which round it was, but it was difficult ground, and I mean they were not amateurs, but still you come from Old Trafford and you go to a dodgy pitch, and they can smell the blood, and it's hard for us to, I wouldn't say put ourselves in for the fight, but they've got extra motivation to beat us. So you have to be really professional.
Nothing to lose, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that journey is at an end today. It's a huge game. I've had all my friends on from around the world saying, their heart says Kev, their heart says Leicester, but their head says Chelsea. We'll get on to the predictions a bit later, but I mean, just to sort of preview the game, Chelsea, the way they're going, they're going to be a tough nut to crack, aren't they?
Yeah, you've got to fancy Chelsea really with their form. Obviously, there was a little blip in the week, but that can happen. It's cup final week against Arsenal.
Yeah,
and look, they created and pushed Arsenal right to the wire, but it just weren't their day. You could see with the finishing, etc. But you've got to, when all the chips are in the middle of the table, you've got to fancy Chelsea today. I know it's going to be a tough game, but Chelsea are going to be the stronger team.
It's a massive game for both clubs, and Brendan Rodgers, who's done quite a few interviews in the last couple of days in the build up to it, and I think it's a great game for the neutral, but the neutrals will tend to favour Leicester City. Have you got any thoughts, Mikael? Do you agree with Kev? Do you think it's a big ask for Leicester today?
No, not so much, because you look at the table, Leicester is above Chelsea, right? I think they've got a lot more to show for in that final compared to the previous years. They've kept a lot of players, and now players have got a lot more experience. So I think they can manage the occasion. Like Sir Alex Ferguson used to say, play the game, not the occasion. I think with Brendan in charge, I think they can do that. And if they stick to their game plan, and obviously they've got a bit of luck, they can beat Chelsea over 90 minutes.
Speaking of great games, I was hoping that we could have put a smile on Mikael's face with Newcastle getting a result last night in the Premier League. It was a game where nothing was really to play for, according to everyone in the media. Obviously, Newcastle was safe. City are already champions. Massive congratulations to them. They didn't have an easy game, Kev.
No.
Pep came straight out afterwards. He says you never get an easy game at St James's Park. But what a game it was. Another 4-3 for Newcastle fans to agonise over.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it tends to go against you, doesn't it, these games? It's only Arsenal who are 4-0 up who gives you the chance to come back for 4-4. One of the greatest games in Premier League history. But I thought that was a good advert for the Premier League, especially with no fans there. But both teams attacking, both teams going for it. 7 goals in the game, defending shocking at times. But I think City just had a little bit more quality in the end, and there was some keep ball session in the second half was remarkable at times.
Yeah, I went to put the kettle on and I came back and they still had it. It literally.
Yeah, I mean, it was a fabulous game. I mean, I actually sent a WhatsApp to Pete when Newcastle went 3-2 up. As soon as I hit the enter button, it was 3-3.
3-3,
yeah. And if there's one thing you want to pick on is don't concede straight after you score, right? You know that, right? But it was a great game. Very, very entertaining.
I've got to ask Mikael, because champions and worthy champions. As a player who's played at Man United, Arsenal, and at the highest level internationally, what will Man United be looking at next season in terms to close that gap? Is there a certain player, or do you think? I mean, Ole's done a wonderful job at United. I mean, let's not take that. It's fantastic, but City were just a different level this season, weren't they?
Yeah, they are a step ahead for sure. You can see that clearly. It's difficult to catch them. Yeah, so for Ole, it's about trying to close that gap. So I think defensively, maybe add another centre back because Luke Shaw and Wan-Bissaka have been pretty solid. Even if Wan-Bissaka is still learning the trade, he's got to master that position still. And then the obvious one is the right wing, so whether Sancho or another top winger will come and take that position and make it his own. Because Bruno scored 18 goals, that's incredible. And then Cavani having another year, it's good, but you need to build for the future. You don't want to just a stopgap, So Greenwood will grow up, but not that fast. We can't expect him to score 25, 30 goals next season. So there's still some work to do.
Mikael, sorry, Pete. Mikael, do you think?
No, go, Kev.
Do you think Manchester United should go for a top striker, like no disrespect, George, but a Harry Kane type? Because if you add 25 goals to Manchester United or 20 goals to Manchester United, they are right there.
Yeah, they should. They should. I'm with you on that. They've tried with Haaland, but with Mino, it's not the best relationship with Paul at the club, so it was difficult because the obvious one, Ole was training the boy in the past, so it was the obvious one. But you need to go if you have to break the bank for Harry Kane, just do it. There is no other way. Sometimes you need to go. This is it. I need this piece of the puzzle to make it worth the fight.
Yeah. There's the ongoing saga with Sancho, and you don't quite know what to believe if United will buy him or not. But to Kevin's point, a player like, breaks my heart, but someone like Harry Kane, you think they need someone like that, right? More so than a Sancho, I would imagine, right?
Because they got Marshall. You got Marshall. You got Greenwood. You've got Rashford. You got people who can play in them wide areas. But that since Lukaku went, that main striker, Cavani's done a great job, but he's not going to play every week. You need someone who's going to be there every week. Bang.
Yeah. Although I wonder if there's a trend going on. Look at Man City. They've played for most of the season without a traditional number 9. You could argue Chelsea, I know Werner, so I'm wondering if there's a trend developing now, right? But I know Guardiola was rather shy in responding to will he go for a player like Harry Kane or Haaland, It's just interesting how it's developing.
Well, unfortunately, George, Aguero, his season has been hampered by injury, etc. Because having somebody like him in your team makes all the difference. But they haven't had that luxury. Jesus is a good player, but he's not an Aguero.
Yeah.
So they're hard to replace, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry,
you can all stay away. You can all stay away from Callum Wilson. When that man's fit, and again, I had the conversation with a friend this week in a team, in a team that like Manchester United, for instance, with great service. Mikael's just mentioned, you've got Bruno Fernandes, who's a genius. I think Callum Wilson would be an extra. He scored 12 goals in a Newcastle team that has struggled all season. Who knows? Mikael said that there is a puzzle to fill there at Man United. Kev, how many puzzles have Arsenal got to fill?
Hey, we just bought Hamleys. We got that many puzzles. We bought Hamleys. Oh, I tell you. For anybody who don't know, Hamleys is a big toy shop in London. We got that many puzzles. Honestly, it's been a difficult season for Arsenal, obviously, and there are certain pieces that are actually there. These young kids who have saved the club season, really. The Sakas and Smith Rowes.
Yeah.
This what Tierney's really shown himself. Martinelli when he plays, he's looked the part. These youngsters have saved the club. Aubameyang really hasn't turned up as much as he really should. Lacazette's done a decent job while he's been in form.
Yeah.
Gabriel coming in, Partey coming in, finding their feet. You could see the potential that they have when they learn the Premier League, etc. But a lot of the time, Pete, it's been a mess. And Mikael Arteta, he's up against it in the summer. He really needs to get moving.
Yeah. I think it's pretty sad. Yeah, it's pretty difficult for Arsenal and Spurs. North London is very sad now. For football, Arsenal and Spurs need a lot of rework, right? We touched on it last week, Kevin. It's there's a lot of surgery required, I think.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Just lost George briefly there. Gotta move on.
Go on, Pete. You there?
Pete, we can hear you.
Pete,
Kevin.
Yeah.
Kevin, can you hear me? Yeah.
I can hear you. Yeah.
Mikael, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Yep.
Pete,
are you there?
Yep.
Yeah.
We're all here, Pete.
Seem to have lost George. Can you hear me, Kev?
Yeah. Yep.
I can hear you.
Okay. We'll try and carry on.
Let's go. Come on,
Pete. We can all hear you.
I think I'm on my own.
You're not.
You're not.
We can hear you.
We can hear you, Pete. I think Pete has lost us. Pete has lost us. Hang on. Let me send him a note.
Yeah, he's gonna leave. He's left us, George. So
yeah,
look at the end of the day, Mikael. Arsenal, you're an ex-Arsenal man. You've played against Spurs. North London are really struggling right now.
Yeah, they are.
Big time.
Yeah. It's the result of a lack of investment, right, Mikael?
There is a lack of investment and mismanagement as well, I think. There was a lot of changes at Arsenal since Arsene left. Mm-hmm. And at Spurs, every manager has too much to say about what he wants to do and how he wants to run the club.
Yeah.
They've been given too much power, so you have to rebuild from zero, or not from zero, but it's kind of tough for the manager who jumps in.
Yeah. Pete, are you back?
Yes, we're back. Sorry about that. Carry on, George. You were in the middle of something.
Yeah.
I was just round the back fixing the wires.
Yeah, I was about to say something contentious, perhaps. I think Arsenal should allow Arteta more time. I think he's getting his pieces together. It takes time, and a lot of Arsenal fans want to replace him. And I think, he's got a clear vision. It's not been easy this season. Mm-hmm. I think with more time, he gets closer, a few more players. And you can see there's a pattern, that he wants. There's a system he wants to play, and I think he deserves more credit than he's getting.
But you know what, George? Arsenal fans, it's like the older heads understand it a bit. Some of the youngsters chop and change. If you're not doing it, you're gone. Let's replace
I know.
them. And you know what? But here's the problem. George. And for any of our teams, who do you replace them with? Because if you go and try and get a big name manager, he needs money because he's not going to stake his reputation on a rebuild with no money.
Yeah. Look, Spurs and Arsenal fans are very similar because we're all very fickle. Yeah. To your point, right? Very little patience. Spurs fans, I think, are more frustrated at Daniel Levy than anything, right? Mm-hmm. Because when Poch was flying, he didn't deliver some top quality investment, right? And Spurs have been reeling ever since then, right? But at least with Arsenal, with Arteta, he's got a plan. You can see it. if I'm an Arsenal fan, I would say you got to go with him. You got to go with him because it's
another season, at least.
Yeah, because it's too disruptive. Otherwise, too disruptive. Yeah. Who do you think is going to become the Spurs manager, guys?
Jeez.
Who knows, right? I mean,
who wants to work with Levy? That's the better question.
Yeah, no, I think that's a fair point.
That's the bigger question. Who wants to work with Daniel Levy?
That's a fair. I remember when Harry Redknapp was doing very well at Spurs in that January window. He wanted Cahill and he wanted Tevez, and Daniel Levy delivered him to players that were good players in their day, but Poch was doing great at Spurs in the top four for 6-7 years, whatever, 5-6 years, competing for the title. And there's never been that secondary investment, that was required at the time. And you got to wonder that big managers are thinking, will Daniel support me? Or to what extent will he support me? Or maybe Spurs just say, look, we're not going to be a big club when it gets to investment on the pitch, and find a manager accordingly. It's a very difficult situation. Very frustrating for the Spurs fans, I can tell you. My mum included.
I've got to say, we're coming up to, we just had the second code for everyone that comes out. Sorry about my connection problems. I will looking at getting that sorted. What we're coming up to, though, is the favourite part of the weekend. We're coming up to 20-3 UAE time. It's time for, it's the predictions. Mikael, I've got to tell you this. It gets so, you think that it was competitive when you were at Manchester United, at Arsenal and France in the World Cup. You haven't experienced anything apart from Kevin Campbell trying to beat everyone. Kev, before
I had a nightmare last week.
Lee Cosgrove last week.
Lee Cosgrove had absolute. Listen, I've got to take my hat off to him.
Worldy.
He had a. Listen, it was a one-off, right? It was a one-off, Lee.
7 points, so he equals the record. 7 points. So he was happy with that. So we turn our attention to this weekend.
He was quick to tell us as well, wasn't he? He was quick to tell us on social media as well.
He was straight on Twitter, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
He was straight. He texted me. He said, "I'm gonna tweet Kev." I said, "Yep, crack on, do it. Get on with it." Okay, so guests go first. We're going to start with Mikael. Mikael, we're going to ask you for your prediction first of all for the FA Cup final. A score, please, for Chelsea against Leicester.
2-2 and Leicester on penalties.
Ooh.
Wow. 2-2 and Leicester on penalties. George, what have you got for us?
I'm going to go 2-1 for Chelsea.
2-1 for Chelsea. Okay, Kev?
I've got the same. I've got 2-1 Chelsea.
2-1 to Chelsea. Jason Edwards is with us, big Everton fan, and he says 3-1 to Chelsea. Okay, so we move away from Cup glory to Premier League duties. Still a lot to play for with regards to the top four, top five in Europe. So we've got Brighton and West Ham, Mikael. What's the outcome going to be there today?
1-1.
1-1 score draw. Okay, George, you've got Brighton, West Ham on.
I'm going for the same. West Ham will do everything they can to win, but I just got a feeling it's going to be a draw. 1-1-2.
Okay,
Pete,
Super Kev.
Pete, I'm going for a West Ham win. 2-1.
Yeah.
To West Ham.
2-1 to West Ham. I fancy that as well. And so does Jace. Jace has taken the same score as you.
2-1.
Big Sam could be... will he be staying at West Brom? We'll have to wait and see. West Brom play Liverpool today, Mikael. What's your prediction there?
3-0 Liverpool.
No free.
3-0 to Liverpool. Can't argue with that. Liverpool seem to have found some form currently. George, what have you got for us?
3-1 Liverpool.
I've got
3-1 to Liverpool.
Yeah, I've
Kev,
got the
your
same.
old team.
I've got the same as Mikael. Unfortunately, it's 0-3 to Liverpool.
Yeah. All over for West Brom. Let's hope they can bounce back. Great, really good game for George's team today, Mikael. We've got Spurs against
What about
Wolves.
Jace? What about
fancy?
Jace?
What does Jason have?
Yeah, what about Jason Edwards?
2-1. 2-1 to West Brom.
Love it, Jay. Love it, Jay. Love it, Jay.
Wow.
I hope he's right.
Sorry, Mikael, my fault. Yes, Spurs and Wolves.
Spurs and Wolves. 2-2.
2-2. Yeah, I think it's going to be a good game. I think there's going to be goals in there. George, your beloved Spurs, what have you got for us?
2-1 to Tottenham.
2-1 to Tottenham. Kev?
I'm going to go 2-1 to Wolves.
Oh, okay. And yeah.
Nothing would surprise you with Spurs.
Mikael,
Jace Edwards.
No, I have to say, Jace Edwards, yeah, he's gone 2-1 to Spurs. I have to say, I've watched Wolves of late. I do fancy Spurs today. I think Spurs will do it. Okay, last up, Mikael, we've got Everton, Sheffield United.
Everton 2-0.
Everton to win 2-0. George, Everton?
I have 2-0, the same.
You got the same. Jace has got 3-1 to Sheffield United. Kev, what have you got for your old team?
What did you just say?
3-1 to Sheffield United.
Jace, 3-1 to Everton.
Right. You see, that's why you got me going there. I'm thinking, hold on. No, I've got 2-0. I've got the same as the guys. 2-0 I've got. And Jason's got 3-1.
Okay, 2-0. Great stuff. Yes, Jason's got 3-1. So Lee's not in it this week, Kev, so you might have some sort of...
hey, listen. So he's taken a week. It's amazing, isn't it? These guys, they get a great week and then they run away.
They're still celebrating.
Look,
that's what it is.
Manchester United. Manchester United.
Well, after the midweek game, he's run a mile. That's what it is. Well done, Lee.
Okay, George, got to ask you. We're fast wrapping up, and we've still got one last code to go as well for the guys before I get lynched. What have you got on this week, and what are you doing this weekend? Have you got business, or are you going to be on that sofa watching the FA Cup final, how it should be?
Bit of football, trying to be a good father and a husband. That's a challenge lately. And quite a bit of business, of course. Yeah, with the football app. Yeah, a lot going on. Yeah.
Good stuff. Mikael, what have you got on this week? Are you busy, or are you going to be out and about in Dubai?
No, I'm just going to watch football this weekend and stay home quietly. Reminding you that tomorrow is Monday here, so back at school for the kids, and it's a different rhythm.
It is school run tomorrow, Sunday, first day of the week for us here in Dubai in the UAE. Kev, you've probably got about 1,500 games to commentate on, have you?
Well, do you know what, Pete? Here's the great thing about my weekend. After I get off here, I've got a day like Mikael. I could watch the football with George. I could do all that. But tomorrow, you got all the Spanish teams playing. Yeah. Tomorrow, it's going to be a great day.
Exactly.
So that's what I'm covering. I'm covering all that tomorrow. So brilliant.
Kevin, I always ask you this, man. Tell me, what do you think tomorrow, La Liga? What's going to happen?
I honestly think Atletico Madrid might drop points.
Really?
Serious. I honestly think they might just draw. They might draw, and leave it all up to the last game.
If Madrid draws and Atletico wins, they've won it, right?
No.
Got 2 games, haven't they? They've got to get
because there's 2 games, but they're 2 points
you're right.
in front.
Yeah,
they're 2 points in front.
That's right.
So they make it 3 points in front. So
Yeah.
Massive thanks to everyone that's messaged in. If you would take the opportunity, if you haven't already, because I know many of you have, if you could subscribe to the channel below on YouTube, that would be fantastic. We'd love you forever. And it also keeps you posted with great guests who we're getting on next time. So that allows me to say a massive thank you to our special guest today, Mikael Silvestre. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on, Mikael. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
And of course to George, who we will be seeing next. Thank you. And George next week. What it leaves me to do is to put the last part of the TFA family's code up so they can go scrambling off to their bonus room. Kev, it's been an absolute pleasure. Let's not forget, Mikael, yeah, you were at Man United, but Arsenal as well. So two Arsenal legends together in the same room, along with a Spurs legend. There's your last code. Thanks, guys, very much. And we'll see you next week on Hollywood Balls, sponsored by the Football App.